All right, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about medical bioethics. So, before we go into medical bioethics, we need to understand what is morality and ethics. Morality is related to one's own self thinking of what is right or wrong. So, it's basically what I would think what is right or wrong, but this can differ between person and person, so it's really subjective. On the other hand, we have ethics, which is a system of the principles that govern the conduct of an individual or group of friends and according to which human actions are judged as right or wrong. All right, so it's basically what everyone else sees as right or wrong. It's a system of principles, and this is how the rest of people judge right, wrong, or bad. Okay. Medical ethics are the standards of the right or wrong that govern the members of a particular profession. So it's the ethics in the medical field. And this set of standards is given by a professional group or a government council, for example, the government or whatever. The law is determined by the government or the regulatory body, and it gives us direction how we're supposed to behave, and it controls external behavior. Breaking the law is an offense and it's punishable. Also, something here the doctor said is that all illegal acts are unethical, but not all unethical acts are legal. So basically, illegal means it's unethical, and unethical does not necessarily mean it's illegal. Okay, so meta ethics basically when you try to philosophically study ethics and understanding all these ethical properties, that's meta ethics. Normative ethics is how we bring ethics into our own lives, and it puts the standards for the rightness or wrongness of an action, right? So it's a set of rules. If you punch someone, of course, for no reason, of course you're not an ethical person. So then you set a rule. If you punch someone, you go to jail, and that's normative ethics. Ethics is meta ethics is when you think of why people do certain things and why people think certain things. So it's more philosophical, right? It's like why, you know. Applied ethics is basically how we apply these ethics into our medical field. So what we should do essentially, right? So for example, metaethics is a philosophical study. Patient confidentiality is part of bioethics. Normative ethics is rules or standards. If you breach patient confidentiality, you're breaching normative ethics. Applied ethics is applications, right? You should not share any of the patient's detail except with another physician that is responsible or anyone responsible for taking a medical decision. Right, now we go into bioethics, right? Bioethics is the applied ethics, right? Remember, applied ethics that we take into provisioning healthcare or conductive health research. So if you see in the test, provision of healthcare, conductive health related research, that's bioethics, right? The biggest thing that helps us differentiate from research ethics, if you ever forget, is that here we have the provision of healthcare, and here we do not research ethics. So clinical ethics or medical ethics, right? It's related to individual patients, identifications, analysis, whatever, right? It's related to one person. That's how you're going to remember it. Research ethics, if you ever see conduct of health-related research, right? Any of the issues that comes with researches, then that would be research ethics. Public health ethics, this is the one that you face when for example, you're conducting a big scale operation or large scale on a research on a big operation or a public health action. So example, the COVID vaccine, that was a public health ethics deal. All right. Islamic bioethics is when we bring in the Sunnah, Quran, and Ijtihad, right, to resolve ethical issues in healthcare practice or research, and it basically brings Islamic morality, and the goal of it is preserving religion, soul, mind, wealth, and progeny, right? So why is it important to know about bioethics, right? It teaches us what we should do, why we should do it, and how we should do it, right? Make sure I was recording. We have 4 principles of ethics, and we have an extra 2. Not sure if it's coming with us because I think the doctor said it's extra, but it's good to know either way. Veracity is telling the truth, fidelity is loyalty. That's why when someone is disloyal to their partner, we say infidelity, right? So autonomy, what's the first one? And these are the ones that will come in the test. Autonomy is basically the patient has the right to choose whatever they choose with their health, right? After they are given the information, and you need to get their consent. Beneficence is you want to do good to the patient and society, so you want to better the whole world, right? You want to benefit people, right? Preventing incompetent doctors, students passing out as doctors is part of beneficence. I'm not sure if this is a question in the test. Non-maleficence is basically trying to do no harm or less harm, as we'll see later on. And we do this by evaluating the risk of to the patient, right? Got to be careful. So here are saying there are situations where, we're harming the patient, but we're not breaking non-maleficence because we're choosing the lesser evil. Because if we leave them, let them be, they're gonna have problems, right? So, for example, here we do a no CPR or DNR because it would be greater harm letting this person go on and face the debilitating condition, which is worse than death, right? So this is lesser harm, right? Although death is harmful to this patient, it's less harmful than what they're going through. Justice is being fair, sharing the limited health resources fairly, right? Doesn't matter if someone's black or white or Asian, you don't get to be racist in the medical field, all right? So, can these conflicts be in conflict? Yes, right? So, for example, when you're trying to get in with surgery, that's no harm, right? And you have non-maleficence. So are we harming them or are we helping them? Well, if we don't go in and do surgery for an appendicitis, the patient could die. So in this case, we're actually helping, right? Professionalism is the things that makes a person professional, and all doctors have to be professional, committed to society, right? So this is the key elements of professionalism. How do you be a professional person, right? Excellence, give the best of your skills, right? Humanism is basically being empathic, is being humane, right? It's being a human. Respect the patient's dignity. Accountability is being able to be taken accountable, and it's resolving conflicts, and not blaming others, and being responsible. Altruism is when you put someone else before you, right? So if you save someone's life, that's an altruistic act, right? That's altruism. Integrity is when you are a leader and you don't use your position unfairly, and you are true to your words, and you're basically like a man of your word in a very high ranking position, right? You don't abuse your authority, right? So this is just this is professionalism, this is ethics. Here it's documentation. We need to be honest and truthful when we document. Here is just talking about medical records. We need to be relevant. It should only be to those who are professional related to the patient or the patient. The medical record is the property of the hospital, but the patient can request a copy. Okay. The information needed about the patient. Yeah, everything needs to be precise and objective. Everything needs to be signed and dated. All right. So as doctors, we can sign very important documents like death certificate. So someone could try to fake their death and make you sign like a death certificate, right? You don't want to do that. Sick leaves, that's a no-brainer. Medical reports, all that, right? You should not sign if the information is false. You need to be sure of the things you are signing. Don't just like go and sign on everything, right? No, all right. The rest is this is the same thing I saw, right? We should not give prescription of like restricted drugs unless we're authorized. Don't write drugs just to please the patient. You need to write it in clear handwriting, and write the health practitioner's name, the name of the institution, the date of prescription, the patient information, the diagnosis, the drug use, and whatnot, right? So things affecting ethical decision making. So we have the clinical ethics committee, which comes in the sort of disagreements when it happens between the doctors and the patient and their families, right? And their role is to facilitate communication between the team and the patient's family, and they provide recommendations rather than decisions, right? So they collect information, they meet the parties, they do an ethical analysis, and they make a decision, or they provide alternatives, and then they follow up. They consider their things based on the medical indications, the patient preferences. This is the 4-quadrant model: the quality of life of the patient, and contextual features. The CLEO approach is related to the clinical, legal, ethical, and organizational. You can just read through that. So steps for resolving an ethical dilemma. The first thing we need to do when we find the ethical dilemma, we need to find out, is there a problem? Okay, there's a problem. We need to see the feelings that there is in it. We need to gather all the facts, all right? So consider, is there any other alternative courses of actions? Examine the values of the patient receiving the care, right? Evaluate alternatives, right? What's the best for this patient? Articulate a decision, right? Make a decision. Which the alternative best balance more of the values? Have any other alternatives come to light? Implement the plan and conduct a review. All right.